There's something unsettling about watching a man become a monster slowly, not in one dramatic moment, but in quiet compromises, in rationalizations, in small decisions that feel justified at the time. That's what makes Walter White's journey so disturbing and so real, because his story mirrors an ancient warning found throughout Scripture. The danger is not money itself, but the love of money, the hunger that grows the more you feed it. At the beginning, Walter White looks like the last person who would fall into darkness. He's underpaid, overlooked, humiliated by life. A high school chemistry teacher washing cars to make ends meet. He's sick, afraid, and worried about leaving his family with nothing. And in that moment, his decision seems almost noble. He tells himself he's doing it for them, for his wife, for his son, for security. But Scripture quietly warns about this exact moment. In 1 Timothy 6:10, we're told that the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Not money itself, but the love of it, the craving, the justification, the belief that if we just had enough, everything would finally be okay. Walter's first mistake isn't cooking meth. His first mistake is believing that money will solve what is actually a spiritual problem: fear, pride, insecurity, and the need for control. He doesn't just want to provide, he wants to matter. He wants respect. He wants to feel powerful after years of feeling small. And once that door opens, it never closes. At first, Walter sets a number. He calculates exactly how much his family will need. It's logical, controlled, finite. But once he reaches that number, he doesn't stop. The target moves. The justification changes. The need grows. And this is exactly what Ecclesiastes warns about. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. Chasing wealth becomes like chasing the wind. You reach for it and it slips through your fingers. You get more, but somehow you feel less secure, less satisfied, more afraid of losing what you now have. Walter's transformation is not sudden, it's gradual, and that's what makes it dangerous. Each step seems small. He lies to protect himself. Then he manipulates Jesse. Then he allows people to die. Then he causes deaths. Then he becomes the very danger he once feared. Meanwhile, Jesse Pinkman moves in the opposite direction. Jesse starts off reckless, selfish, and morally numb. But the more he witnesses the consequences, the pain, the loss, the innocent people hurt, the more his conscience awakens. Jesse begins to feel the weight of what they're doing. He starts to see the humanity in others. He begins to break, not because he's weak, but because he still has a soul that responds to suffering. Walter, however, moves in the opposite direction. His conscience dulls, his empathy fades, his pride grows. He begins to justify everything. Eventually, he no longer says he's doing it for his family. In one of the most honest moments of the story, he admits,
For the family.
I did it for me. I liked it.
This is the final stage Scripture warns about. When money stops being a tool and becomes identity. When success becomes power. When pride replaces humility. Jesus asks a simple but devastating question. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world, yet lose his soul? Walter gains everything he thought he wanted. Money, fear, reputation, power. People know his name. They respect him. They fear him. But in the process, he loses his family, his relationships, his humanity, and ultimately himself. The very thing he claimed to protect is destroyed by his pursuit of wealth and control.
Meanwhile, Jesse, who loses nearly everything, begins moving toward redemption. He suffers, he regrets, he recognizes the harm. He becomes more human as Walter becomes less. It's almost like two spiritual paths crossing in opposite directions. One man climbs upward in power while descending morally. The other falls deeper into suffering while awakening morally. Ecclesiastes describes life lived only for gain as a chasing after the wind. You can run forever, but you never arrive. Walter keeps chasing, more money, more control, more respect, but every victory only creates a new hunger. The empire must grow, the risk must increase, the violence must escalate. Because greed never stays still, it expands. And by the time Walter realizes what he's become, the cost is irreversible. The warning of Scripture isn't just about morality, it's about trajectory. The love of money slowly reshapes priorities. It changes what we justify, it numbs empathy, it feeds pride, and eventually, it convinces us we're right, even when we're destroying everything. Walter White doesn't become evil overnight. He becomes evil one rational decision at a time. And that's what makes his story less about crime and more about the human heart. Because the Bible's warning isn't about meth, crime, or violence. It's about something far more common. The belief that if we just had more, we'd finally be secure, finally respected, finally satisfied. But like chasing the wind, the more we grasp, the more it slips away. Walter White chased wealth and found emptiness. Jesse Pinkman lost everything and rediscovered conscience. Two men, one path toward money, one path toward redemption. And the difference between them wasn't intelligence, opportunity, or circumstance. It was what they chose to value, money or the soul.